This is The Baseline, discussing the hot button topics of the NBA.
Welcome, everybody. You're tuned to The Baseline. Cali Warrenshaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. Holiday edition of The Baseline might be the mobile edition of The Baseline. As my man Shaw always, he has more been the clandestine one recently. But even but sometimes, what I'm saying, brothers that are together may flock within the same state. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to be back in the old stomping grounds, down here in West Palm. My man Shaw rocking down there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I'm obviously, to our listeners, listen, what I'm saying, we've known each other since Liquor Youth is right. So it won't be too far off from us, getting together. But man, as always, man, it's great, being back down in the old yard, and warm weather conditions certainly do not disappoint for us Northerners.
Yes, sir. Yeah, usually I'm the one who's traveling, if you will, and on location sometimes. But not that you don't travel, you do a good job of not having to podcast when you travel, because you go to destinations where the audio and podcasting stuff can't even be done. But nevertheless, I'm very excited, that you are here.
But you know me though, I'm MacGyver or something. If we have to make it happen.
No, I'm not knocking the hustle. Not knocking the hustle, but you know how to plug out a little bit better than I do, and I'm envious of that. At the same time, though, glad to have you here in the interesting state. I wouldn't say the great state, the interesting state of Florida, where our families are, while other things are going on. At least our families are still here to kind of keep us sane. So we'll be looking forward to catching up with you in person, here in the coming days.
Absolutely, man. And as always, we appreciate everybody who's been rocking with the baseline from day one to day none. It doesn't matter to, what level, degree, and time frame it's been about rocking with us, man. As always, we love discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. We got a good little show on tap for our listeners, right? Obviously, the big talk of the conversation, the big talk in town is regarding the updated formatting, suggested formatting for this year's NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll tap into that. And then we have one of our favorite segs, man, Talk Ish or Abandon Ship. Love this one, man. You know what I'm saying? Gives me all those Busta vibes. Those
we gotta get Busta on one time. We got to reach out. We have
it
so much.
Really nice. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna reach out to Busta's representatives and see if we can
exactly
some Jamaican stuff going on too, man. We
yeah, man. Exactly. It would be awesome too. We can get like a legit drop. You know what I'm saying? Like a dub plate drop from Busta. You know what I mean? That would be a featured segment. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Exactly.
I'm gonna reach out and work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, be sure to get my man Shaw, Shaw Sports NBA, get at me at Game Phase Lee, the show's Twitter handle, NBA Baseline, available on all the major platforms, so you know where to find us. You go to www.thebaselinenba.com to check out this and also all of the great episodes that we have archived. You know what I'm saying, in the cave, in the catacombs of your listening pleasures. And as always, when you catch us on YouTube and you see the blue and white logo, that's the 19 Media Group family. So be sure to go to www.19mediagroup.com in order to check us and the great family of content creators that we have as part of the 19 Media family, man. Everybody rocks out and gives, great stuff to listen to. So we always encourage people to check out 19 Media in order to really kind of tap in and edify your mental state of everything discussed, whether it's music, entertainment, culture, sports, politics, whatever, you name it, 19 Media Group has got you. So check us out, man. Check out the family. We always got something for your listening pleasures. So Shaw, let's get right into the goods, right? The big conversation that's been going around over the last few days in the NBA is this proposed new format of NBA All-Star Weekend, specifically the NBA All-Star Game, which they're saying is they're wanting to implement for this year's upcoming All-Star Weekend. It's going to be a 4-team tournament-style format in which you'll have 2 semifinal games being played up to 40 points, with the winners advancing to the final match, which will be played up to 25 points. And this is basically been announced, through all major outlets. So, you go to ESPN, NBA.com, where have you, and you'll get more information in regards to this. And I really wanted to get your take. There's been a lot of pushback, from the media pundits, with regards to this tournament style that's being implemented. And I'm really just curious what your take is, as far as, do you think that the NBA is going too far? Are they leaning too hard into this, or, where are we going with this?
Well, stop me if you've heard this one before. Fans don't like NBA format. NBA tries to change format. Fans still unhappy. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle, that I think that we're in. We didn't really want to embrace the NBA Cup or the in-season tournament as it was last year. Now the Emirates and NBA Cup, and we got to get used to maybe some changes in format. So if it goes away, people are going to be upset. Like if they cancel it altogether. So I'm going to continue to applaud the league, at least for trying things. And while I don't know that this is the best fit, well, it's nobody liked what happened last year. So will a pickup style, 4-team, eight guys per team situation work out in a mini tournament? I don't know. I don't know. And until it actually happens, it's clear I don't know anything about how the league works when it comes to, in rule changes, if you will, because I guess this isn't a rule change or a competition change. Since it's an unofficial game, it doesn't count for anything. So they can continue to tweak the format as they proverbially see fit, even going back to the years when they made Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki honorary members of all-star teams or whatever. Like, it's always kind of like they do what they want to based on however the year is. I have no real issue with this as on its face. I'm more intrigued by if they're going to expand All-Star Saturday night to some degree, what they're going to do about the dunk contest, if anything. But I'd love to see more stuff with, like, the Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry. If you get Caitlin Clark into that situation now, the 3-point competition, getting the WNBA more involved in some of the All-Star Saturday night stuff, that interests me. Sunday, I'm kind of lukewarm on, but I'm not going to poo-poo it until I actually see it.
Yeah, so a lot of the pushback has really been, and I get it. A lot of the pushback I think people have is they think that the NBA is just masking, what the elephant in the room is speaking to, is that, listen, the All-Stars are just not competitive, right? Like there's no incentive for them. And I think what really angers them is the fact that, why do you need to be incentivized to do something that naturally has been always a part of the fabric of growing the game, right? And so it's a really interesting situation, Shaw, because how I feel about the in-season tournament. And it's not that I don't think that it's a quality idea. It's that it doesn't absolve a lot of what we keep saying the NBA falls privy to, instead of what it used to do, which is take bold steps. It seems like it takes these side steps and doesn't go fully all in. And then they dance around with it. They mess around with it, and then they don't really articulate exactly what they're going for, what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to accomplish. Like, this could actually be something that's great, no different than we have pickup ball. And I think a lot of people who come from the urban area, who come up from some type of basketball background, would look at this and be like, "Yo, this is pretty dope." But again, it'll fall short if the players don't buy in properly. They don't invest in it properly. So I think that, to me, is the key overall say. Listen, you can toss out as many great ideas, but if the players don't put themselves into this with the intent of what it's supposed to do, it'll never come off clean. It'll never come off soundly. And again, it'll be to the fans' eyes, it's just, another marketing ploy scheme. You already got them there. Sure. But I think what'll make them upset is knowing that these guys are not walking onto the court with the intent that they're trying to actually be the best of the best in an all-star format like you used to do back in the day.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. And I think what I think is a misnomer is, not saying that that's what you said was a misnomer, but most people think things happen to the players. The players have say in this, right? The Players Association is involved in how these things go. So if the majority of the players don't like it, well, then they need to take that up with the representatives from their teams and the Players Association that are also, arbitrates, if you will, with the Board of Governors, if you will, for the league and, whatever else is involved there. The governor, not ownership. So to me, it's just like, when the All-Star product goes bad, and like they are out there kind of like, half-assing it, so to speak. It's just like, well, the league wanted this. Well, the league includes the players. So, at this stage, what we're reading, is that somebody like I'm not putting him out there, but Steph is going to be the face of All-Star Weekend because it's going to be in Golden State, right? So I don't know that he is the one. He's not driving this per se, but the Players Association is alongside Adam Silver, and the governorship of the NBA. So this is something that they're going to buy into. We will have to see if it actually works out and actually comes to fruition. It may take a sharp left here, or maybe they go back with their traditional format. But I applaud them for at least trying and not just kind of shoving the same thing that didn't work and was kind of boring and disgusting to watch last year. But again, I if you remember, I wasn't really all that irritated because I was like, well, I don't really expect anything from All-Star Weekend anymore. And while that might be, taking an attitude of dissonance, so to speak, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. So, hey, try something new. All right, I'll give it a shot. If not, then, hey, I'll still shrug my shoulders. I won't be overly disappointed.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them trying. You know what I'm saying? This you can clearly tell is that it's the NBA that is trying. They're trying to appease and at the same time elevate a heightened, vibrance,
Sure.
to the idea of what All-Star Weekend is supposed to mean. But again, you can lead a horse to water, bro. Can't make them drink. This is on the players. The players have to be bought into this. And I think there's one other thing. I'm just to mention this before we move on. A lot of this is coming from a place of now we're talking about what this generation values, what this generation prioritizes as far as what matters to them in the sport of basketball, in sports entertainment. And I think there's a disconnect here because a lot of the anger is coming from the players who laid a foundation to give you this quote unquote open platform of being able to take the games in these different directions and ways and stuff like that. And yet the most fundamental thing that has to still come from this. And this is even when we visited, All-Star weekends numerous times, Shaw. It's great that you can get all of these big name companies out there and we can use the word brand activation, but the ultimate brand that has brought this together is the NBA. And if the NBA doesn't, oversee this in a manner, and I say that collectively, it's not just the board, it's not the committee, it's the players too. It's everyone, the veterans, the former NBA players, the union, everyone has to be bought in when it comes to these type of events. Even when we talk about the finals and we talk about summer league, and all of it has to be bought in collectively if you're expecting people to buy into the brand. It should not be a fragmented thing like some of the time I like it, some of the time I'm not. And I think that's where a lot of this disconnect is coming from. So when you have these new ideas that can sound very innovative, that can sound very, creative, if you're not getting all of the buy-in from everyone in it, I'm not saying scrap it. What I am saying is that critical aspects of what is not being invested properly to do it properly, you will have the kind of, your word, dissonance that takes place, whether it's from the media side, whether it's from the fan side, whether it's from the player side, or whether it's from the NBA, the NBA leadership or executive side. And that's where I think is where it becomes so disheartening, is that it just feels like no matter what you do, like my group, little brother says, man, can't win for losing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just need to get back to a point where there was a joy in this level of competitiveness that comes out of us putting these type of things on. And until we get to that point, a lot of these ideas, they sound great. And like Special Ed 10, 15 years ago, we're going to wish it was here. It was at that time that we started appreciating it because it's never going to be available to us, down the road.
Yeah. Players got to not just be apathetic to the idea and just say, hey, it's a vacation to wherever it is or whatever. And some players at this point don't want to go. They'd rather actually go on vacation with their families. So we're getting the results of a lot of different things here. But maybe this will be the elixir to kind of get things back on track if they buy in, as you're alluding to.
Absolutely. You're tuned to The Baseline. Callie, Warren Shaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. Coming up, man, we got our favorite segment. Talk ish and abandon ship, man. We got some good teams to talk about, whether or not they on that ish or it's time for us to abandon ship with these dudes. But first, are you craving nonstop hoop action? NBA League Pass is your ticket to the ultimate basketball experience. Enjoy live games, on-demand replays, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content across a variety of devices. With NBA League Pass, you'll get more access to your favorite NBA content. Stay up with the NBA like the Baseline does. Sign up now and type link.nba.com/LP19MG. NBA League Pass is running a flash sale from November the 27th through December the 3rd, 2024 with the code BFCM2024LPC. That's B as in Bravo, F as in Frank, C as in Charlie, M as in Mary, 2024, L as in Larry, P as in Paul, C as in Charlie. This limited time offer is the perfect opportunity to attract fans eager to catch every thrilling moment of the NBA season. So be sure to take advantage of this awesome flash sale, November the 27th through December the 3rd. Remember the code BFCM2024LPC. More Baseline, Callie Warren Shaw. Don't go anywhere. We are back. Callie Warren Shaw, Baseline NBA podcast. Time for our favorite joint, man. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, getting up, jumping in a mosh pit. Talk ish or abandon ship, man. Shout out to our man Busta Rhymes and Last Boy Scout, his cousin Last Boy Scout. That was one of my favorite songs. You know what I'm saying? When The Coming came out, that I know everybody was on Woo Ha, Got You All in Check, and Everything Remains Raw, which is another, classic. Yeah. But man, that beat on Abandoned Ship. I'm sorry, man. People just don't understand that type stuff right there. What?
Gets you going. Gets the people going for sure.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. All right, so let's get right into it. So let's do a little talk-ish or Abandoned Ship. First on the docket, the Philadelphia 76ers. How apropos, my friend. They are first. They are the leadoff. Are we still going to talk that ish about the Philadelphia 76ers, or is it time to abandon ship?
So I don't want to hedge. So I think the short answer is I'm going to abandon ship. Everything smells and looks and feels bad about the Sixers vibes right now. 3-13 as we're recording here, next to last in what is a lowly Eastern Conference, unceremoniously. You'd figure out there's still time for them to climb themselves in at least obviously the play-in situation. But that's not what we thought would be the case with the Sixers. We thought this would be at least a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference right now. And that seems very, very far off. As we're recording, Embiid is out again, swelling in the knee. Paul George should be back maybe sometime next week. Jared McCain is proving to be the Sixers' best player this year, even with Tyrese Maxey kind of in and out of the lineup. Nothing about the vibes and Sixers makes me want to talk my ish. So I'm abandoning ship on this joint real quick. And I'll wish for the best for them. I ain't going to hate on them, but I can't take this ride anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I was already abandoning that ship when we had our conversation about Joel Embiid. And as far as I'm concerned, I just feel bad for Tyrese Maxey because he, to me, is really the only person on that roster right now that is part of that transition that I think Philly fans are just hoping and praying that he isn't contaminated by what's taking place. Now, we can sit here and point fingers on whether or not it's a leadership problem, it's an Embiid problem. It doesn't matter. All I know is that Nick Nurse, I'm sure, came in with the best of intentions to say, hey, I think I can, turn this, I can fix this, I can kind of unlock, what's holding back the Philadelphia 76ers. And I even think he's even realized right now he would like to just get a core group of guys that he doesn't feel like all have personal agendas and get them on the page of doing what he was doing, when he was the head coach of the Toronto Raptors. So I'm just hoping that what we salvage now for the remainder of this season, one, the upside potential that we see with Jared McClain, because that could really be an awesome combination of him and Tyrese Maxey. And I mean, you can certainly build from there. And then obviously Tyrese Maxey, like I understand Tyrese Maxey has got a good relationship, or, he says that he's, he has a great relationship with Joel Embiid, and, they're obviously, very upfront with each other and all of that stuff that was going on with the, players only meeting and it leaking out, all of that kind of stuff. I don't think mitigates the bigger picture when we talk about the Sixers is the fact that this is supposed to be Joel Embiid's team. And this clearly is Tyrese Maxey's team, and Tyrese Maxey's motor, his effort, that to me, I think is what should drive the Philadelphia 76ers forward. The moment that Joel Embiid really made things more of like, this is like a play like type situation. Like you can never take him seriously. Like the moment that you started seeing those type of signs from him is when you just began to realize that what he does and how he goes about doing it just doesn't comport with some of those type of players that the Philadelphia 76ers have had as great role players to him, have now ascended themselves to being core guys that you want on a quality team that really want to make a championship run. So again, all well and good. You know what I'm saying? I just think that if you are the Philadelphia 76ers, you need to let go of this idea that Joel Embiid should remain the face of this franchise. Figure out a way to see if you can move him and get some quality pieces. I think the train is left with him. And I think if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you do not want to hurt your ability to keep a Jared McClain or a Tyrese Maxey. You do what you need to do with this roster.
Yeah, well, I'll just say they didn't expect to have to deal with both Paul George and Embiid being out most of the season. They knew Embiid obviously would miss time, but figured out PG would be there part of the time. They've struck gold, I think, with McCain, but just hasn't been good there too. I'll transition this one here now because it is Laker Cal time. So
give me a break.
Come Laker on. Cal back up in the joint here as the Lakers are 10-6, fourth in the Western Conference. You picked them to be fourth in the West. In our pre-predictions, me and Grant picked them to be less than that. Let's just say talking ish or abandoning ship on your earlier prediction of the Lakers.
No, listen, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to Laker hate, and I'm not going to Laker Cal either. But I will talk ish for the time being with them. Look, they're still a legitimate team. And as long as they continue to win games that they should be winning and, hang around, they'll be right in the thick of it. Because if you really look at it, the Denver Nuggets certainly are not helping their own cause, right? The Minnesota Timberwolves are going through its ebb and flows as well, too. And really, even the Dallas Mavericks, which, with Luka Doncic coming in and out of the lineup and, there's been a rash of injuries that have been plaguing them, it looks like the win totals, doesn't seem like there's going to be too many teams that are going to be exceeding 58 games or something like that, right? It's just a very competitive field. So the Lakers, listen, you stay above 500, you hang around, you might very well be in that 4 or 5 range, which is what I expect, because when you got quality guys like LeBron and Anthony Davis, you're going to be good. Where I worry about is, you get a hot start like a guy like Rui Hachimura, and he still seems to be a lost cause. That you don't need. You need a solid third person that the Lakers can truly rely on. Now, maybe they'll find that with Austin Reeves. Maybe they'll find that with Dalton Connect. Or collectively as a team, they just become better. But I definitely think that they need a third person that they can rely on with some level of consistency to help out LeBron and help out Anthony Davis. And then I think, they'll be all right. That's just the way I see it. How does that? Is that a lot of love? Am I giving good snuggles? No,
it's an appropriate level of analysis, which I can always appreciate. So, but in short, I'm going to say you're talking ish that you feel like they can still be where they're at. And I'm going to talk my ish in opposition of where I originally predicted them. I still think this is a 7 or 8 seed team. I think they've been benefited from a nice hot start, good vibes, especially with the home record and things of that nature. Tough times are coming. The D'Angelo Russell situation seems to be not all that amazing. No vibes there, really, to be honestly. I don't think Rui Hachimura is quite as good as he's played. I think he's played a little bit above his ceiling. Connect is dope. Austin Reeves, I think, has more bounce to him than I thought he did. And this is the guy that I thought we thought we'd see last year. So I think JJ Redick is doing an amazing job there. But, in short, I think this Lakers team is going to eventually kind of come back to earth a little bit, and be more in line with what I predicted. So I'm talking my ish here.
Okay. All right. And I certainly can respect that. Austin Reeves reminds me a lot like Kirk Heinrich, except
Heinrich. Oh, shit. Captain Kirk.
Yeah, man, Captain Kirk. When the way I'm saying it is that I think Austin Reeves actually is a more athletic player than Kirk Heinrich, but I think he can be groomed, to be a quality guard, and I think that's what they're really pushing for, because that's why he's become more of that primary ball carrier and can afford to bench D'Angelo Russell. And look. That doesn't mean that he's going to, have crazy handles or anything like that. You just want a competent guy who's able to shoot the rock. I mean, he's certainly clearly a step above like a guy like Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey gives you those numbers though. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll rebound. He doesn't have to score a ton of points, but he finds a way to score the basketball. And I think, maybe that's where JJ Redick that's where you want to see JJ Redick's imprint on this team. can he coach up a guy like Austin Reeves at that guard position to get those type of quality buckets that you're asking for from your backcourt? Because he has no problems getting the scoring from the front court players, right? Dalton Connect slides down to the wing. He comes out as the 2 from time to time, but he's got to get the ball. So if you got a guy like Austin Reeves eating up a lot of minutes, he's got to figure out a way to get that ball to those guys, and at the same time be able to use that athleticism for him to shore up what they can get out of their backcourt scoring wise. Because right now, I think maybe I'm off in my thinking. So here's Hater Cal, right? Like coming in and trying to bring levity to this Laker love situation. Their backcourt is horrible as far as scoring goes. You know what I'm saying? They're not as like up there as where everybody thinks it is. And it's basically a revolving door in rotation of what they're getting from Vincent, from Reeves. So even while they're winning, they're still not getting the quality that I think JJ Redick would like to see from their backcourt, complementing what they're already getting from their front court.
Yeah, well, they're going to stay in the mix and always be trying to upgrade. That's what the Lakers are. Them and the Heat always be rumored around everything too. So let's go to a little surprise team here. The Brooklyn Nets. So
you mean the Brooklyn Nets, not the Brooklyn Nets, the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, they are an interesting bunch, right? We figured they would probably be where the Sixers are right now. Like they should be toiling around with the Wizards of the world. But here they are finding themselves just a couple games below 500 as we record. Signature win of the season on the road against the very hot Golden State Warriors. While I don't think Cam Thomas has not been the 29 point per game guy. He's been 24, been injured here and there too, but Jordy Fernandez has done an amazing job with this team. Guys have been in and out of the lineup. Claxton's been in and out of the lineup. They're getting some stuff out of Zion Williams. He's playing some center. This Nets team has been interesting. So I'll go first. I am going to abandon Ish on my prediction of them being this as bad as I thought they were. I don't think that they're going to be quite this good, but I don't know that they're going to be a team that wins in the teens. Obviously, they're already halfway there to that right now. So I think this is a team that can muster maybe 33 to 30, even 35 wins, because I didn't realize Jordy Fernandez was this, this much of a savant, if you will, to extrapolate this level of effort from this team. 9th in offensive rating. Yes, they're 25th in defensive rating, but they figured out something too, no matter who's out there on the floor. So I'm going to abandon ship in my earlier prediction on Brooklyn.
Yeah, so I'm going to abandon ship on my earlier prediction as well too. They're a good team. They're a solid team, and they're an annoying team. I listen. They annoy me with every fiber in me. They annoy me, right? But I guess that's a good thing, right? Because here they sit, and they've been at every. Listen, man, they could have knocked off the Cleveland Cavaliers during their undefeated stretch. They could have knocked off the Boston Celtics, right? So let's not act like, just because those L's that they've taken are, L's that's just like, okay, what's the Brooklyn Nets? No, they fight and they compete. And so to your point, props to Jay Fern, you know what I'm saying? Because he's got that burn in him and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, Shaw, I would love to talk ish about all of the new young coaches who have had an impact. Lee in Charlotte, Jay, like these guys, man, they're really doing a quality job. Look, even JB Bickerstaff has got the Detroit Pistons back on one. Just when we thought, oh, here we go again with the Pistons and the struggles and can't get out of their own way, can't learn how to win, can't look at them. That they're hanging around and they're becoming one of the most fiercely competitive teams. So listen, man, props to all of these new head coaches coming in for some of these maligned organizations and teams and getting the kind of, out the box, hot out the box, just rampant, just doing their thing, man. I'm loving it. And I think this is making a great talking point for the NBA season.
Yes, sir. I would definitely agree with that. Young coaches continue to surprise. There's a lot of the young talent out there. And this is why some of the retreads that we've been talking about for years are not getting those opportunities to go back in the head coaching chair. Some of them are going and being high-level assistants. But I think, it's great to see some of these younger guys getting a shot, although JB's obviously been doing this for a while. I'm going to combine the last two here, CL. And we talk about two teams in the Western Conference. So Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. We had both of these teams right around the play-in. I think you might have had the Rockets maybe a little bit lower than I did. If I recall, you might have had them at 10. I think I had them at 8. But your thoughts on the Warriors Rockets? Are you going to abandon ship because we both had them like at least in play-in territory, and they're both exceeding expectations, soaring near the top and middle parts of the conference currently?
I'm going to continue to talk ish about the Warriors and the Rockets, about them as being quality teams that I don't think anybody wants to play against on the premise that the head coaches don't F them up. So, listen, Steve Kerr was rolling with how he was utilizing his rotation and roster. As of recently, I've been seeing a little bit of, flaky, shaky, decision making. It's like kind of old Steve Kerr kind of ways with him and his roster, time to time. But he really does have a pretty solid roster. It would be great to see if he could figure out a way to kind of continue to blend that. And I think they're still going to be in the running. Houston Rockets are the team you just really have to watch out for, because again, you're just seeing the imprint of Udoka and how he coaches, his teams. And those guys are fighting. Those guys are competitive at any given night. They got guys that can come out and explode, get you points. At first, we thought, Sengun is a cornerstone guy. Then all of a sudden, you see Green come out of the box. I mean, listen, Van Fleet is just quietly having a pretty nice season, but he doesn't have to be the star guy, but he's the glue guy, right? You can just tell, man. I love what I'm seeing from both of these teams. I'm going to continue to talk my ish about them. While they might be the teams that are going to hang around in that play-in situation, the way that these teams are the way that they're formed, they're not a team that any one of those higher level or the higher seeded teams want to be thinking about messing with, because if they're on one, if they're hot coming into that playoff situation, that play-in situation, listen, I feel for whoever they got to play against.
Yeah, I would agree 1,000%. Especially on the Houston side, I'm going to continue to talk my ish and think I think the Warriors are going to come back to earth. I'm going to talk ish in the aspect of I think the Rockets are probably this good, but it would almost be an abandoning ship of where I thought they were going to be. What I'm seeing from this Rockets team, as you alluded to, Udoka getting them to buy in, their defensive effort, second right now in defensive rating, offense still yet to kind of come along. They still can't play all the guys they have, and they are ripe for a consolidation trade, I think, at some point, to get some sort of influx of talent in here if they're so inclined. So I'm actually abandoning the ship because I think they are going to be better than where I had them before as 8th, and maybe they can even get it above that play-in line. I'm really buying what the Rockets are selling to me right now too. So that's I think this has been a fun and exciting segment, man. More to definitely dive into, I think, in a later episode. Especially if we can get busted back into this, get him into this joint. Maybe we'll get his takes and see if he'll talk ish or abandon ship on some predictions on the NBA.
Absolutely, man. And I love the fact that we gotta, every time we talk about a player or a team and stuff like that, we gotta inject like a hip hop reference. So, the Nets got Killer Cam. You know what I mean? So, So, once we start, name dropping Killer Cam out there, now we got to figure out a way to get Cameron, and Mace onto the show too. So
they love.
Listen, man, we appreciate everybody for hopping on board with us this week. And listen, we wanted to know from you as well too. I posted out there, like, what are your thoughts about this updated formatting of the NBA All-Star Weekend? Are you feeling our talk ish or abandon ship predictions regarding the Sixers, Lakers, Nets, Warriors, and Rockets? Let us know where your thoughts are, what you're feeling. For the baseline, Kyle Lee, Warren Shaw, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hopping on board with us this week, and we'll catch up with you next time.